Hello, I'm Karena.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome to As Told by ADHD. This podcast is a brainchild of two best friends with ADHD who share a passion for learning and a knack for finding the most fascinating tidbits of knowledge. Each week, we embark on a wild and hilarious journey of discovery as we dive headfirst into topics that pique our curiosity. From dark folklore to bizarre statistics, cultural ceremonies to famous dead people, we're here to entertain, educate, and tickle your funny bone. This week on As Told by ADHD, we're going to talk about some historical disappearances. All the things that will probably plague your memories forever after watching this episode. You're welcome.
You're welcome. I will say, there are some historical disappearances that I have been thinking about for a long time. The one that has been plaguing my memory for 5 years, I'm not going to do today because it's extremely heavy of a story. So if you want that one eventually, let me know.
Yes, and we always, like whatever topics we cover, we always are willing to go back and hit up a new story from that topic anytime. Maybe we can do some anniversary ones, whatever the fan favorites are. So just let us know in the comments below.
Exactly. Okay, so evens or odds?
Odds.
You're going first.
Is this a new streak? What is
It's a new streak.
this? What in the
Hell
world
yeah.
is this? Jamie hasn't gotten to go first in weeks. What is happening?
Fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
All right. Well, then I'm going first. Okay. Sorry. I have to. Did you ever see that rapper girl who goes like period period
Yeah.
She's exactly what I just thought of. Okay. Period period Okay, I love that I'm going first. This is so exciting. Okay, so my story is about 5 men who went to a basketball game together and were never seen again afterwards. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yep. It sounds
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I guess all disappearances sound weird and unnatural, but you know, just 5 guys going out to a basketball game and then they're never seen again.
Is this the 5 guys?
It's not the 5 guys. It is a certain 5 guys. They're called the Yuba County 5, and it is centered in California.
So we're not talking about the burger guys.
5 guys, burgers and fries, you're safe.
For now.
Unless. Unless. So they ended up going missing without a trace in the mountains of California, again in Yuba County. Before we get into the disappearances, though, I think it's important to know who these guys were. And the fact of who they are kind of makes sense as to why they might have disappeared, but also makes it more confusing as to why they disappeared. So everything's hard to explain because of who these people were. So there was Gary Mathias. He was 25 years old, and Gary had once served in the U.S. Army but was discharged after developing paranoid schizophrenia. When he took his medication, though, he was able to live a completely stable life. He had a good social life. He had like a gardening business his stepfather did, so he would help him out with that. And he had a decent social life. I mean, he had 4 best friends. So
that's really good, though, because I feel like it takes a while, no matter what ailment you have, to find the medication that fits you, because everybody's body chemistry is different.
Exactly.
So, like, good for
it
him
takes
for
people years to find the right medications.
Exactly.
But Gary was familiar with the mountains where they would later disappear. He camped there numerous times. So I feel like he would have probably been the guy you would want to get lost with as long as he has his medication, you know?
Fair. I will say, like, I feel like they do, like, from what I know about the military, I think they do really well, especially, like, in basic training of, like, survival stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, you definitely, if you haven't had to use or implement those skills, you're probably not as well versed in survival skills than someone who's had to actually apply those skills.
Yeah, and usually in the military, if you're in a certain MOS, you go, like, on, I can't remember what exactly they're called, but they would have to go out to, like, field, and that
Mhm.
field could be, like, a random patch of land on an island or in the middle of nowhere state here, rural there, so they do apply it a little bit, but I feel like it's so routine that they might not be able to handle
Yeah.
unforeseen circumstances. Again, not trying to
Yeah.
diss on the military, okay? Not trying, but I just feel like that way. But anyways, our next fella is Ted Wire. He was 32 and he was known as the Gentle Giant. He did have an intellectual disability, but everybody said he was deeply kind. He was a little bit too trusting, but if somebody said they needed
Mm.
help, Ted would be the first one to jump up and do it.
Do we know what his disability was?
So his intellectual disability wasn't professionally diagnosed. The next four men, actually, they all were said to have some sort of developmental delay or intellectual
Mm.
disability, but it wasn't formally diagnosed. I don't know if it was due from where they were from, that their local doctors couldn't really diagnose them, but everybody who knew these men other than Gary, who was professionally diagnosed because he was in the military, so they had those resources. Um, it was kind of one of those things of, this person, small town type things, something is a little bit off.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not
Like
like
they might be a
dyslexia or
little bit
anything.
slow. No, they're just slower to react, too
Okay.
trusting, weren't really able to grasp on to anything. Everybody who knew these people, they were on the slower functioning side. So much so that also that they still had to live with their family. They still had to live with their parents,
Okay.
even though that they were in early adult age. So that's just a little preface on these guys. So that's Ted Wire. And the next guy is Jack Madrug. He was 30. He, again, also had a delay. And everybody said that he was quiet, steady. He was also a former military guy. He was an Army veteran. And everybody said this, he was the proud owner of a turquoise and white Mercury Montego, which is the car that they did end up driving that night to the basketball game. Everybody said, though, that he was careful and he was the kind of man who wouldn't drive anywhere unfamiliar, especially not into the mountains. So that's what makes this kind of
Yeah.
strange. Our next guy is Bill Sterling. He was 29. Everybody said he was soft spoken, deeply religious. He volunteered at a local hospital. He read to patients with mental health issues. And Bill and Ted were like the best friends. They were absolutely inseparable. Where Ted went, Bill went, vice versa. Um, Everybody just would call them brothers. Like they had that type of bond. And then finally we have Jack Hewitt. He was 24 and everybody said he was cheerful, affectionate, and he had a slightly more pronounced cognitive disability. They said he worked part-time in snack bars and stuff that his family ran. And he was also known for being easily startled and always upbeat. So I wonder if this was like a tism type.
Yeah. I mean, maybe because I feel like a lot of the time you attract the type of people that you connect with, and a lot of the time you have a lot of commonalities with people. And I know that like there are severities of autism where you have this very special connection with a topic and you're like, that's my thing, that's what I want to know about, and then everything else kind of it takes longer to learn about. So maybe they all had undiagnosed autism, or maybe none of them did. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. But I am curious as to what they were diagnosed with, like officially, just because the story is very why. Like
Yeah.
that is the question that you're gonna think this entire time. So all of these men They heavily depended on a routine. Again, they lived with their
Mhm.
family. They would go to work. They also were like athletes. All 5 of them love sports. They were actually all looking forward to their team's Special Olympics basketball tournament, which was supposed to be the next morning. That was like the biggest day of the year. That was like their Christmas, you know? So, again, kind of why things happened the way they happened, I'm not sure. Where we are, it's Friday night, February 24th, 1978. The 5 friends pile into Jack Madrug's Mercury Montego and head north from Marysville to a college town of Chico. It's about 50-ish miles of a drive. They were going to go watch a UC Davis basketball game, and witnesses remembered them in the stands that night. They were cheering, they were snacking, they had hot dogs, the sodas, the whole shebang. They were having a great time, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary at all. There wasn't usually when people get up and go, it's usually something bad happens, like an argument or something like that, to where one person would, or the whole thing kind of goes to crap after that. So around 10 p.m., the game ends and the crowd filters out. The boys get back in the car and they drive off. This is the last place that they were seen alive, was at the end of this game. So something obviously went very, very wrong. Apparently, instead of heading south back towards Marysville, they went east into the mountains. That's like the first red flag, because they are familiar with this college. They're familiar with the roads. All of them are like, you went this way, we go back this way type men.
Do you think maybe anybody might have, like, in the group might have been like, let's go see something new? Or do you think maybe they just got talking and, like, the driver wasn't really paying attention and then they got lost?
They could have. There's no accounts of what could have happened. It very
Okay.
well could have been any of those scenarios, but, nobody else was in the car that survived,
Mhm.
unfortunately, or here to this day. So, um, the road they took, it goes deep into the Plumas National Forest through freezing temperatures. We got snowbanks, miles and miles and miles of dark, no street lights, unpaved roads. It makes no sense. None of them liked the cold either. None of them were dressed for the cold. And Jack Madrug, who was careful and cautious, hated mountain driving. So again, why did this happen? These are just all the things that their family said, about them. So somewhere out there around midnight, allegedly, the car stopped. And a few days later, on February 28th, a forest ranger found it, and it was abandoned on a mountain road 70 miles off their intended route. Yeah.
Okay.
The gas tank was still a quarter full, but the keys were missing and the doors were unlocked. Inside,
Okay.
there are said to be candy wrappers, empty milk cartons, and a basketball program from the game in Chico. No footprints were visible around the car because it's cold. So, there's already layers of snow out at this point. And the area was completely silent. Just snow, trees, and I guess, like, questions. Like, what's
Okay.
happening here? Why did they go up there? Leave a completely, like, good car that was still working, still had gas, food inside, would have been their only shelter from the cold. At first, police thought it was just like a simple case of getting lost, but as the days turned into weeks and then the weeks turned into months, it became clear that this wasn't just a case of like a wrong turn.
Okay, question. So with this kind of weird disappearance, did they see, like, were there any witnesses see another person with them,
No,
leaving with them?
no. It was
That's
just the
crazy.
5
Do you think
guys.
maybe somebody was following them
It
and they
could,
got
could
scared?
have, could have. There is one with schizophrenia.
That's true. But was he
So,
driving?
he wasn't driving, but if the guys are easily gullible, easily
Yeah,
frightened, you know.
fair.
So, that's honestly kind of one of my theories, is that
Okay.
the one with schizophrenia, probably said something that might have spooked the other guys, and then the majority probably told the driver, like, "Go this way, we have to, like, run them off," you know? And one probably said, "I know the mountains," the schizophrenic one. Gary could have said, "I know the mountains. They won't be able to find us. I know this area. We'll be safe." Now, why they got out the car, I have no idea. Nobody knows. So, in the days after the car was found, the search for the Yuba County Five grew desperate. I mean, these are men that aren't able to be off on their own. They need family, they need stability, they need routine. Police volunteers and families scoured the mountains and the roads and all of the snow-covered hills, like everywhere for these men. Helicopters swept the area, but the terrain was brutal. There was deep drifts, there was icy trails, like thick forest, and every day, because of the season, the weather just worsened. And every day, unfortunately, the family's hope would fade a little bit more because it comes into survival. Um, all they had was that car that was sitting in the snow. So by March, because it's
And
starting
there's
to
no
warm up,
footprints or anything?
nope, it had been snowing.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Um, so by March, we're in spring, and the investigators had run out of leads, but the families, of course, they refused to give up. Mothers and fathers drove the same roads for weeks, calling out their sons' names. I mean, with no avail, but they still tried daily. And then as winter loosened, the forest began to thaw, and on June 4th, 1978, a small group of motorcyclists exploring the area came across an old U.S. Forest Service trailer, and it was, like, hidden amongst the trees, so I think it was just kind of the case of, like, the guys were just like, "Oh, let's go check out an abandoned place," you know? So, this service trailer was mapped to being precisely 20 miles away from where the car was abandoned all those months ago. And when they opened the door to this trailer, they found Ted Wire.
Only him? And that one's the schizophrenic one? Or is that the...
No, that's not the schizophrenic one. He was like the gentle
Oh,
giant one.
okay.
He was the one that was just a little bit too trusting.
Okay.
So, what's really weird about when they find Ted's body is he was stretched out on a bed. He had 8 sheets wrapped around him as if someone had tried to keep him warm.
Like
But,
a cocoon?
like,
Or just on him?
I couldn't find documentation if it was like a cocoon or if it was just sprawled across his body, you know, or tucked lightly.
Okay.
He didn't look like he was just sleeping, though.
Okay.
So it seemed that he had starved to death,
Mm.
his cause of death. But this, they suggested, because he could grow a beard, they suggested that he could have been alive for about 13 weeks
Wow.
after they went missing because of finding this trailer, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
But around him were unopened cans of food,
Okay.
matches, heavy clothing, and even a propane heater that could have provided him warmth, but it had never been turned on. So there's no reason for him not to be alive right now.
Do we know who this belonged to?
It's a trailer for the forest rangers.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. I
Yeah.
think I was picturing like it was just like a survival bunker that like somebody had.
No, it was a service trailer for
Well,
rangers.
if it was like a service trailer for rangers, wouldn't they have found him way sooner?
They
That's so
said it was an
confusing.
abandoned one, but, like,
Okay.
what does that even mean? If they,
Right.
like, you know? So, I mean, it could have been very dilapidated, but when you're in the woods, you don't really care about keeping up with the stuff. You just want to make sure that you have the supplies you need inside, you know?
Right.
How did he starve to death? He had the food, okay? He didn't freeze to death. That wasn't the signs that they saw. But like, it's just like, how did he starve to death? How on earth? Investigators ended up searching the area all around this service trailer, and they found the remains of Bill and Jack. They were lying close
Okay.
together. They were about 11 miles from the car, and they died from cold and exposure. They were like
Okay.
huddled in the snow,
Mm.
um, I guess to try to stay warm, unfortunately. Then the next unfortunate find was Jack Hewitt's bone. They were scattered because
Like he been,
animals.
yeah.
hmm
Oof.
So all three men had died on the path between the car and the trailer, as if they tried to make it to shelter, but they like couldn't survive the cold
Mm-hmm.
because this trailer's again 20 miles away
Yeah.
from where the car was. Um but we still have one who's
Mm-hmm.
missing, and this is Gary. This is they're schizophrenic,
Mm-hmm.
familiar with the forest guy. His body was never found. They found his sneakers inside the trailer,
Okay.
suggesting that at one point Gary had been with Ted
Okay.
and left, I guess, barefoot for some
Okay.
reason, or took another person. I don't know if they found the shoes of everybody else. I don't know if there might have been like one pair of boots in the
Ma-
trailer or
Like,
something,
it would
but
make sense to me that in that type of trailer for like rangers, they would be like a pair of warmer boots.
there could
If,
be, and maybe
yeah.
he just like told Ted like, "Hey, I need these more than you because I know these woods. I'm gonna go try to find our friends or something." You
Mm-hmm.
genuinely don't know. But Gary has never been found,
Mm-hmm.
which is very odd
Yeah.
because he is the one who could have one got them into this situation
Mm-hmm.
because of his schizophrenia, and two could have decided, because I mean, you have to think he was off his medicine for how long before he could have possibly died. I think
Yeah.
3 days, 2 or 3 days off your medication, it hits you like a brick,
Yeah.
whatever you're dealing with. So I honestly think that Gary had a huge role in what
Mm-hmm.
happened to these boys. What exactly that is, I don't know. I don't know what could have transpired. All we know is that everybody other than Gary had no experience. Like, we had one other that was in the military, but like, that doesn't mean that he was exposed to what Gary was exposed to.
Right.
So I don't know if Gary found his way out. I don't know if he was eaten by an animal once he made it 50 miles,
That's
away.
true.
I don't know. But I am curious as to where your brain is going. What could have happened, you think?
Um, well, my first thought while you were like talking about like animals possibly eating him, if there's like boars in that forest, they eat bones. So
Oh.
he could have got eaten by a boar. But I also don't know if there are any boar in California. So
I
I
know
don't
it's
know.
close to Washington, obviously, Washington State, and I
Right.
know there are definitely mountain lions, cougars, wildcats,
Mm-hmm.
bears, all of
I
the lions
don't
and tigers and bears. I'm high. All of them.
I don't think my other theories would be like maybe okay. Another thing that popped in my mind, I was like, was Gary a serial killer? Like, did he do this on purpose? Or my next thought is like, what if there was someone that was following them, you know? And
I
then
mean, there
like
could be.
they were getting chased. And then as they're getting chased, maybe they split up and they kind of lost their way, tried to backtrack, and that's where the others died of exposure.
Yeah.
Um, but like from what you told me, it sounds like Gary and the Gentle Giant, what's his name?
A Ted.
It sounds like Gary and Ted both made it to the trailer. And if he was wrapped up, like another thought that I have is what if they had been starving the entire time and Gary had to either carry Ted the rest of the way or he was like on his last leg. He laid down to go to sleep and didn't wake up before he had a chance to eat.
That's actually a really good theory. That's a really, really good theory.
Yeah. So that's why I like that is the most plausible explanation of why Ted didn't eat anything is because like he was like, I need to sleep. I'm so exhausted. Laid down and then never woke up.
Yeah, I do still think though that Gary plays a very big role in this. I think
Mm-hmm.
Gary is the reason they didn't go straight home.
Yeah,
100%.
maybe. It could
I
be
don't
it.
think like I mean if there's foul play, I don't know. I can't say that there was foul
Yeah.
play, once they reach the mountain or something, but I do think like cuz schizophrenia is a powerful mental illness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it can make you see, do, speak, hear like unbelievable things, like the stories and accounts. And if you're not familiar with
Mm-hmm.
schizophrenia, I highly recommend that you look into it, read some people's stories because what they have to
Yeah.
go through with this mental illness is, I mean, I feel like they're some of the strongest people, honestly, that
Honestly,
like
yeah.
deal with this because it is insane what they have to
Mm-hmm.
go through.
And if you or someone you know has it, share some of your stories in the comments. I personally would love to hear about them because I've never interacted with someone that I know of that had schizophrenia. I also
Hmm.
feel like there's a lot of shame around it.
There
Like
is a lot of shame around
and I don't
schizophrenia.
think it should be. I think that that's
Mm-mm.
something that you can't control.
Uh-uh.
The same way that there are people who can't control depression, there's people who can't control anxiety. Like sometimes your brain just works differently than other people, and that's okay as long as you're not hurting anybody. And like 99.9% of people with schizophrenia don't hurt anybody, you know?
Exactly. No, they don't. They're actually trying their best to push out or push away whatever it is they're seeing, hearing,
Mhm.
feeling. It's really, really bad.
Mhm.
So,
I did see on TikTok this one guy, he was talking about like he was kind of sharing his experiences. I do not remember his name. It was like several years ago that I saw this. He was like, I have like a 5-step process of determining if something is in my head or if it's real.
mhm,
And like he's like, if I'm alone, I do this. If I'm with someone, I look at them and be like, do you see that? Cool. That's not real.
right.
And he's like, I remember he said something about like, there's a clown that just stands in the corner a lot of the time. And he's like, creepy. And he's used to it. So he's like, okay, it's just
Wow.
there. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, not in a, like, wow, that's so great, but, like, that's amazing that he's able to, like
Mhm.
normal people, if they were in the shoes or, like, look through the eyes of somebody with schizophrenia for one day, I feel like they'll be traumatized for life.
Mhm.
There's this one person, again, we are terrible with names, we do not remember, but there's
I'm
videos
so
out
bad.
there, okay? So just, like,
Mhm.
search keywords that we're saying. Um, but this man or this person, I actually can't remember, but this person made, like, a VR world, like, downloadable VR world for, like, those who have those VR devices that show them what he sees because he's an artist and he like draws what he sees, so he like worked to create this VR view of what he sees, which I think is, one, scary, but two, gives that perspective because VR can make
Mhm.
things look so real.
Right.
So I
I think
think
that's incredible because I think that a lot of people have negative connotations around schizophrenia because they don't understand it.
oh, for
And,
sure.
like, they aren't able to have empathy because they don't understand it,
For sure.
or sympathy. I believe there's a difference between empathy and sympathy. I
Same.
think that if
Heavy.
you're empathetic, you can be like, "I understand you're going through something. I've never dealt with that, but I am sorry you're going through that," versus,
Exactly.
you've been through it and you're like, "Okay, uh, yeah,
It's like, here's the
sympathy."
coping
Yeah,
mechanisms. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But if you were to drive those roads for any reason, you would see um a memorial of some sort. The families go up there often and they leave flowers and little trinkets and little notes and stuff like that at the trail entrance. So, regardless of what happened, these men are very much remembered because they were loving, they were kind, they were so innocent. So, like, literally the definition of innocence was
Mhm.
described for these men, at least like most of them. So, I hate that this happened to them. I can't imagine the stress and anxiety and
Mhm.
paranoia they had to, endure in their final days. But I mean, we're here to tell their story and tell people how kind and wonderful they were and remember them that way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it.
That's good. Do we know what happened to the car? Is it
We do not
being
know
taken
what
care
happened
of?
to the car.
Because Jack seemed to love that car, so
He did.
I hope
He
it's
did. It
taken
was his
care of.
prized possession. But yeah, that's my story.
That's your story. Oh
That's
my
my story.
god.
I don't know why
No.
I did that. That's so lame. Okay.
Uh,
Anyways, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's hard to
yeah.
enjoy. It's hard
Yeah.
to enjoy something that's a little bit on the darker end, but I hope you
Right.
guys learned a little
Mhm.
bit of something. And if you guys have any theories of what you think could have happened, please let
Mhm.
us know
I
in the
want to know your
comments.
theories. I want to
Yes.
know if you know something, like if you know the family and you've talked to them, let me know. I want to
Yeah,
know
let us
that.
know everything. Let us know all the
Um
details that we might have even left out. Um,
mhm.
because I mean, obviously we can't go for 3 hours. We're not that big yet to where we can talk for hours. But if we
Speak
left
for
out any
yourself.
details, well, our podcast, we haven't had a podcast release that's 3 hours long yet. So
Um, We've been close. I've had to cut
that's
down
true.
heavily
That's true.
on some of the ones that we've done.
That's true. Maybe when we get a
Also,
little bit bigger, we can post more.
yeah.
So
Also, I if you have any stories of like disappearances that you want to share, tell us. I would love to hear the stories. I love mystery. Like I hate unsolved mysteries, but I'll listen to them if you have them.
or just drop some topics because Jamie does have another topic of like a disappearance that she does want to talk to. So this will help me get ideas for
Yeah.
the next one because we are going to definitely do a next one.
And the one that I want to talk about, I'll go ahead and tell you so I can gauge interest. It's called the Detlef Pass case. It's a case of a bunch of hikers that disappeared in the mountains in Russia.
Wow.
So, yeah, it is gruesome, but it is it is captivating. Like
Okay.
I don't know what happened, but I want to know.
Okay. Well, then
So,
there we go.
let me know
All
if you want to hear
right,
that
guys.
story.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys know how Jamie tells her stories. I know you guys want to hear this story,
That
so
if you want that one to be a 3-hour long one, let me know.
she does
'Cause,
have a
like,
lot of research.
I did a lot of research. I have, like, the research, like, saved. Also, I already knew most of it from 'cause, like I said, it's been on my mind for 5 years,
Mhm.
'cause I learned about it, like, 5 years ago, and
Right.
I cut down the information a lot. So I would be willing if you wanted to do a 2-part series just on this case, and I can give you more details. But if you're like, I just want it brief, I want to know what happened, but like, then I'll just do like 1 part. It's fine.
Well, all right, guys. Drink your water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a water cup in here. It's in there. I forgot it. I know. Don't look at me.
Karena!
Don't look at me.
I cannot believe this. I
I'm
cannot believe it.
ashamed. I'm so ashamed.
Everybody in the comments, please.
Shame.
Shame her into drinking more water. And
Yeah.
if you're not drinking water,
I drank
shame
my
yourself.
whole jar. I just didn't refill it, so it's in there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go make her drink more water, and we'll see you next week with my disappearance. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more solved. So, catch you next
It's a
week.
lot more solved. Bye, guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, we kind of hit the same. Okay.
I did it on purpose.
Okay. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.